Good afternoon and welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 16th, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. Chris, addenda?
Yes, sir. There is one minor change. What's listed on your agenda is BAR 2334, should actually be BAR 2335. There was a mix-up in our system, so my apologies. That's it.
I'd like to introduce some new members on the board. David Bass and Greg Seal. Welcome. Hope you have fun. It's good. It's good. Okay. I'd like to move on and ask the board members to review last month's minutes. Are there any changes to them?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
And a second for Mary Lou. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, let's proceed to the listed items. This will be 2335.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant, hold on. My apologies. Great. Mr. Chairman, if you could give me just a minute.
Take your time.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, we're going to have to try it this way. Here we go. So, BAR 2334, this is for a black chain link fence on Webb Street. The parcel is outlined in red here. You can see the edge of the district here, and there's Whitner Street. And, oh, no, we can't scroll. Does everybody understand and know where we are? Are there any questions? Okay. So this is a site plan. It's rotated about 90 degrees. The proposed fence runs here along Webb Street, and then along the side and back property lines with an access gate here off an alley and another gate, pedestrian gate here toward facing Webb Street. These are some pictures of the site. So again, where you can see the red here indicating the fence, the approximate location of the fence. And again, over here, that's that side of the house. The fence is proposed chain link fence, vinyl coated with black vinyl coated. There would be an arch at that pedestrian gate there facing Webb Street, and you can see the vehicular access off the alley below, what that might look like. And they did propose some shrubs, and staff did recommend some additional plantings, and we'll go over that. The applicant is seeking approval for a black vinyl coated chain link fence in the backyard On the right side of the house, where the proposed fence would be visible from Webb Street, the applicant has proposed that the fence be set back from the front facade of the house. The chain link fence would be black vinyl coated to recede from view. The chain link fence would also be behind a lattice fence, so that's just on the section parallel to Webb Street. And you can see a picture of the lattice fence here that would be in front of it. And landscaping would be added along the fence parallel to Webb Street. It was not specific. So staff recommends approval with the following conditions: that the lattice fence parallel to Webb Street shall be painted to match the trim of the house, and that landscaping shall include, to be specific, 4 large evergreen shrubs planted 6 foot on center along the lattice fence on the opposite side of it, away from the house. Shrub species would be submitted to staff for review and approval. So I know that this is staff recommendations is new to this board. It's not new to any other boards in the city of Anderson. In fact, staff makes recommendations to town council. And we talked about adding this to staff recommendations at our last meeting. I bring this up because I want you all to understand that these are just staff recommendations. You don't have to follow them or go along with them. They're suggestions based on the design guide, but you all are making the decisions, and the decision is up to you. That concludes staff's presentation. Mr. Chair, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
The lattice work and the arch, what's the material?
You know, that might be something better ask of the applicant, and I know they're here tonight. I don't see it specified in the plans.
It's a woven wood. It's not super thick. I don't know if it's oak, what they use from cedar. Oh,
Is it all wood or is it vinyl?
it's wood.
All of it's
There's
wood?
no vinyl.
All of it's wood?
Yeah,
Okay, that answered the question.
okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
And the lattice is lattice on the arch, the gate.
Any-
All
Any questions or comments?
Just for clarification on the proposal where there's the pictures 1, 2, 3, and 4. In picture 2, it extends out along, coming from West Whitner Street. Is the proposal on that to also have that latticed, or is it just that view in picture 3?
the lattice.
Yeah, could you please?
It's proposed to be the front, just the front piece. The side has a garage that's not pictured on that. And there's a little short section of it that faces the back of the house that's next door. So, but the decorative fencing would probably stop at the corner. If I can afford it, I would take it around the side.
But at this time, as staff understands it too, it's just along Webb Street.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the closest to the street.
Right, so everything in picture 2 on that would be that vinyl chain link.
Picture 2 you're talking about.
Right here. Is this the picture 2 you're referring to?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
What's the question on?
Back in here, that would be just vinyl coated chain link.
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the decorative fence only covers.
Just the face, just what
Then
faces
away from
Webb
that.
Street.
Okay.
And then on the alley side of the house, there's about 5 or 6 feet, and that would be chain link or,
Yeah,
I see.
it's more than 5 or 6 feet.
Yeah.
So to clarify, the only place the lattice fence would be, if you follow my cursor on your screens, would extend from the house out to the corner,
Okay.
okay? And then from that corner back, it's not shown on here, but there's a garage on the adjacent property, would be chain link fence. On the opposite side of the house, from the corner of the house all the way to the back corner, is chain link fence with no lattice.
Yeah.
So,
It's not really visible from Webb Street, that alleyway side. There's a lovely picket fence on the left side of it, but on my side, coming from Whitner to Webb, you don't see any of that because it's in an alley basically. And so the thinking was that my main proposal for doing this fence at all is that I had 2 nice little rescue dogs, and then somebody dumped a dog in the neighborhood that I ended up with, and then at my work, in a strange drug deal thing gone bad, I ended up with another little dog, and there's 4 now, and I don't really have the time or energy to walk 50 miles with them, so I need a place to let them go out. My main concern, first of all, naturally, if I was just putting up a fence, I would not use a chain link fence of any kind, but this is more for protection for them because Whitner and Market are extremely busy streets, and if they were to get out, that would be it for them. So my thinking was that in terms of the black vinyl coating makes it look a little nicer, and it also helps it blend into the background, so to speak. And then the part that's closer to Webb, and my house is a beautiful little 1904 Victorian cottage that I'm quite fond of, and I would never put anything that I thought would detract from that. So my thinking was I could keep the chain link fence still as the dog security part and then disguise it by running this woven wood fence with the gate that fits the Victorian nature of the house. It has a lot of gingerbread on it. And that's why I sort of felt like that would help the look of the house and fit the neighborhood.
Okay, I'd like to break this down into 2 items. One being the lattice work on the front side, and the second item would be the chain link fence around the back. Any more comments or questions about the lattice work?
I want to say I think the report was one of the nicer, more thorough reports, and so many pictures and all that. So helpful.
Thank you.
With us. And I've seen your house before, and it is lovely, and the lattice, keeping it in the same era as the Victorian cottage, I think is very appropriate.
Thank you.
And the trim color on the house is it's pure white?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be pure white. Lattice would be pure white. Any other comments or questions on the lattice?
I guess I'm just trying to understand where view 2 of that picture where you would be standing on the map that's in front of us.
You would be standing approximately like right here, looking back towards the house and towards that corner. Does that make sense?
Okay, so that front line before it turns on 2, that is where the lattice work would be. It's just where it turns the corner and runs along the garage is where it would turn into chain link.
Yeah.
Okay. That was my clarification. I didn't quite understand with those 2 pictures where the turn happened and all that. So thank you for that clarification.
Okay.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for the lattice work?
Well, I have one more question about the lattice work. I think the examples you showed, the photographs are fine, some of them, but I guess which one?
I'm sorry. We were considering at one time the other option, instead of just doing the wooden strips. At one time, there was also the option of having the wire squares that would have a decorative thing, a border across the top. I probably should have removed that picture because I felt like the wire was not really serving a good purpose because you would still be able to see the chain link behind it. Therefore, the first picture would be my option with the little wooden squares because that would then hide the chain link.
Right, and I really like that fence. My question would be, how would you apply that to the face of the chain link?
You would not. You would make it a separate fence that would be immediately in front of the chain link.
So you would build this wood fence with the wood post
Yep.
and then build a chain link fence behind it.
First, he would install the entire property chain link, and I'm probably gonna go with a man named Bob Smith of Carolina Fence. He's been doing it for 30, 40 years, well acquainted with the requirements. And at that point, after that was installed, then we would come back, take the wooden posts and the wooden lattice, and just build what would be a facade, let's call it, in front of the chain link that would not serve to keep the dogs out, but merely to cover the chain link.
And that's more cost effective than just building
Well,
a wood fence?
my purpose here would be that if I built a wood fence, the dogs would not be held inside the yard securely.
That wooden fence with the square lattice looks
No,
pretty, it wouldn't,
My dogs are
okay.
not chihuahuas, let's
Yeah.
just say.
I guess, I mean, if the fence is built like that with wooden posts,
Yeah.
with the square lattice as you have shown there, I think that looks great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up to you if it's most cost effective or not, I guess.
Well, I mean, I would, if money were
Right,
no
I know.
object, we would do
Yeah.
the whole thing.
So it will be the same height as the
Yes.
fence behind, because it looks like the chain, well, this is
Would just
an
wood
example,
lattice,
It just
yeah.
looks like it's.
Would the wood lattice go all the way around that chain link?
The front.
No,
Just the front?
Just the
Yes,
front.
the front piece, that's to cover what you can see from Webb Street, because that's the
Yeah.
closest part to the street.
But it's not the only part visible from what our guidelines are say is the public right-of-way. Is that right, Chris?
That's correct. I've got the guidelines here for reference. So on 5.7 in the design guidelines, it says, where a new fence is needed, it should be similar in character with those seen historically. The bullets under that are: a fence that defines a front yard or a side yard on the corner lot is usually low to the ground and transparent in nature. New fence design and materials that are similar to those used historically are appropriate, and solid walls or walls with decorative metal panels are not appropriate. And then finally, I think this is important too, is 5.8. Appropriate materials for fences that can be seen from the public right-of-way are wrought iron or wood picket. Bullets under that: chain link, concrete block, or unfaced concrete, plastic, fiberglass, rebar, iron, plywood, and mesh construction fences are inappropriate.
Any other questions?
And we're just talking about the front part right now.
The front part, across the front, as you face the house, it would be to the right side of the
Right.
house.
So all of these fit those guidelines.
Yes, the lattice work fits the guidelines. Any other comments, questions?
For the front?
Just the front.
The
First,
front, Just the
okay,
front.
okay.
That's all we're talking about right now, is just the front,
The front right
The front
side.
right.
Front
The
and
front
right.
side.
right side on the front.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve, disapprove, make approval with changes?
Just for the lattice.
Just for the lattice.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Amanda,
I'll second that.
a second from Jill. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? No. That portion is carried. Let's talk about the chain link fence now around the side and the back. Questions or comments on that?
Well, it certainly doesn't meet the look of what would have been there historically. And I've served on this board now for 20-plus years, and we've never approved a chain link fence. And we've also had some discussions on our board, and some of you were there, where even though it's not visible from the street, if it doesn't meet guidelines, it doesn't meet guidelines. The fact that it's invisible from the street is not a factor that we've considered.
Because your neighbor's still view it.
Because your
Right.
neighbors will see it, exactly.
I don't have, well, I've got the house next to me is vacant, the lot across the street is vacant, and the house next to that is basically falling down.
The thing is, if we vary from the guidelines and we open the door and approve one, then anyone else can get them approved. We've set a precedence that way. Any other questions or comments on that?
We just denied the one for the mission downtown.
We did.
Mhm.
They wanted the chain link fence.
Yes.
And
We
this is
deny
black
that.
We
vinyl?
deny.
That's my question.
Deny. Yes, we deny.
We did, and also there's a property on the corner of Edgewood and Watson Avenue. About 2 years ago, y'all may remember this one, he wanted to do a black chain link fence, and it was denied, and he put up a different type of fence that we did approve. If you wanted to ride by there and see what he did, I don't know the house number, but if you come up Watson Avenue to Edgewood, it's in the backyard of
And
that.
what would it be? What material?
It's a wooden frame, but it has, and Billy, you may know the material, it's a wire, I'm not even know how to say it, it's a mesh.
It's,
Similar to the one
I think it's 4x4 mesh in the middle.
It was similar to, yes, it was similar to the one,
That one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yes.
Bottom
Yes,
left picture.
yes.
It's very similar to
So
that.
that's preferable to see the mesh fence than the chain link? That's what you're
A
saying?
wooden mesh,
It was a wooden mesh.
Yes.
a lattice.
Yes.
Okay, that won't hold dogs. I'm assuming he just did it to fence his yard in.
Well,
Couple dollars.
The one you're talking
Well,
about, I believe,
yeah,
does
it
have wire mesh.
On the
wire.
backside.
And he's never finished, he's
Oh.
never done everything that was approved for us to pass that. He hasn't painted
He
it or
hasn't
stained it or
painted it,
finished it. And the wire mesh
Oh, I see what you're saying.
is a little more, not as refined as we were expecting. So,
That's my, sort of why I discarded that idea.
Mhm.
If I may say something quickly, I don't know if all of you are familiar with that west side neighborhood. And I realize there's many houses that are sort of grandfathered in, but at the same time, you might, what I've realized over the years is that Webb Street is special because it has families that live on it that really care about how for the most part, how their property looks. And we have several houses that are vacant that the man that owns them maintains as if someone lived in them. At the same time, we have houses that are vacant and that are basically falling down. We have trees that get cut down that nobody asks approval for, and across the street there's a vinyl fence. What we have, in my opinion, is, and realistically speaking, you want something to fit the neighborhood, and I certainly want to do that. When I applied to have my house painted, I went through the process and got my colors approved and painted it, and I love it, and everybody else seems to really like it too. So therefore, I feel like realistically speaking, you have to take a mix, a common sense mix of what the best option you could do to make that function, which is to keep the dogs safe, and the best way to make it appear as though it doesn't exist, and the part that does is decorated in such a way that it complements the house and the street. Obviously, the next with streets across are the alphabet streets, and then we have Brown and Provo where you have a lot of problems. So that's the reason I came up with the mixture that I did, just hoping that perhaps you would understand the function part of it as well as how and hopefully make it appear nice and have it professionally installed.
can I say that in the past, because this has come up so many times, and it really, you know, once we approve it, and it is not in the guidelines, it would keep coming up and coming up, and everybody, we just have to make that until they come up with, well, a chain link fence, we say until they come up with a better chain link fence, which this one sounds good.
Yeah.
However, a chain link fence was never in the original fences that were
Of
in
course.
historic. Most of the times that we have had to deny a chain link fence, what they have done is done the aluminum black fencing, which looks like wrought iron, and it was not all that expensive, from
No.
what I understand.
Yes, I understand, and like I said, once again, it's not very dog effective in terms of the dogs being able to be contained with those kinds of fences. And we're talking about half an acre of fencing. So in that regard, it does get to be more cost prohibitive, and it is more decorative. But the dogs are able to scale also. These dogs are pretty big.
Even, I mean, it comes in different heights and,
I'll certainly be happy to check it out.
or perhaps another option would be to fence off part of.
That would be my next suggestion. If you'd like to come out and examine where you feel like it would be seen by someone from the street, then perhaps, to me, what I understood was that if it's visible from the street, then it's not allowed. Is that wrong?
That's wrong.
From the public right-of-way.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's visible or not, it's against the guidelines. Now, you can do stockade fencing.
Oh, my. Well, that's great if you don't want to not be able to see your animals when they're out there. Also, my neighbor in the back, I feel like he would feel like I am trying to totally block him off from sight line, which it would, and then you would just have a stockade backyard that looks like Fort Knox or whatever. And I feel like it would be offensive to him. And it also makes that alley where yours is too, a solid sort of,
Yes, it
like
would.
you'd be going down a tunnel, basically.
I understand that, but I didn't make the rules.
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that's why I went against that idea, plus the expense.
Is there a fence along the back side of the property?
No. There's no division between me and the gentleman who lives in the back.
Chain link fence there that belongs to the house. Raggedy.
It's sort of an unfortunate situation with that house, but it is what it is.
Any more comments or questions?
I mean, to reduce the amount of wood fence you would have to install, what if you just put the fence around that back parcel right there that says Lot 4 or part of Lot 4? What if you just fenced in that area with
Well,
wood?
the reason why we brought it down.
No, back.
and
Yeah.
the gentleman who worked with me also said because I'm 71 and I've fallen down those stairs a couple of times. And he suggested that if I put the fence there, I could still have access from my car through the gate to come in and out. But when I need to let the dogs out, I can open the back door and they can go out. They're strong and there's 4 of them. And I would be able to just let them go into the yard. And that's why we brought it to where we did.
Okay. Anything else? Do we hear a motion one way or the other?
I move we deny because it doesn't meet guidelines.
We have a motion to deny from Mary Lou. Do I hear a second? No one?
I'll second.
Second from Billy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the denial? Opposed? Motion to deny carried. Thank you.
Okay, I expected it.
Okay. Moving on, and my apologies, we're scrolling and not flipping through slides. Okay. BAR 2336. This is the Earl Street property. So I'm showing you, what you see in here is three sites. The Earl Street site is right here, sort of the middle one. Does everybody see my cursor moving?
Yes.
Okay. I showed all three because they're all three in front of you tonight, and sometimes it's nice to understand where everything is, and especially when it's in such close proximity to your other decisions. So this is the Earl Street site. You can see Main Street running here to the left and McDuffie Street on the right. Everybody know where we are?
Yes.
Great. The applicant is requesting approval of the following renovations to the building. 1, replace the existing terracotta coping on the roof parapet with black metal coping. 2, replace both shingled awnings with metal awnings. 3, all exterior doors and windows will be replaced with black storefront windows and doors, and to add a handrail to the rear exit steps. Staff is recommending approval as submitted. So here's a site plan. Again, Earl Street is at the top. It runs down here. I think it's also, I didn't point out, it's also important, Wren Park is right here. Just kind of keep in mind. But you can see it's long and narrow. There's some parking in the back there. So I want to get a streetscape. So this is what it looks like on Earl Street. The building to the right, to the left of the this building, this is the building that's in question, was recently renovated in a similar fashion. You can see the storefront, the new storefront windows and doors. So this is the existing condition with these shingled awnings here. You can see the back here. And this is what a rendering of what the proposed renovations would look like. So they're eliminating that hipped awning here.
Yes.
And the new doors. I think it's important to note the doors are a little bit different too. And then the side, again, you can see there's breaks in the windows, and you can see the steps in the back with the railing. That concludes staff's presentation. To my knowledge, the applicant is not here tonight.
Can you go back to it shows the front of the building?
Yes,
That
sir.
one.
This one?
Right there, yes. Are they replacing the window between those two doors?
Yes, sir.
And the grids are exposed or internal?
I don't know that. I would assume they're internal, but I don't know that for a fact.
And then the windows on the back of the building,
Yes, sir.
those being replaced?
Yes, sir.
And will the grids be internal or exposed?
I do not know that for a fact.
Any comments or questions on windows?
It says all windows will be replaced with black storefront. Typically, if those have a grid or a mullion, it is all the way through on the storefront window. But it looks like in their rendering, that middle window looks the same to me.
Feels
Like it's
the same to me,
staying.
too.
I don't see the panes on that. And it does say all windows are being replaced.
Okay, let's talk about the awnings, the gabled awnings above the window, front doors, going to a flat style awning. What's your thoughts on that?
think the color and proportion of them looks fine. I would just be concerned what the stone would look like behind the roof, the existing roofs when they remove them.
If I remember correctly, that building has what they call grapevining for the stonework.
Mhm.
And if that is damaged, it's very difficult to repair. But there would only be a small amount, just a small amount above it. And then if we can look at the coping, the terracotta tile coping, did they give you a reason why they wanted to replace that?
No. Something similar, the reason I took a picture of the street, I looked back, that cornice on the top of that building is new, and it replaced a terracotta coping on that building. And that approval was, I'm sorry, it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Just for reference.
Yes. What's your thoughts on replacing the terracotta with a metal edge? It
Is
looks
there a
good on the
problem?
building.
Well, I was gonna say, is there a problem with the terracotta right now? Like, is there a reason it needs to be removed?
There typically are a lot
I
of
wish-
water issues with that type of coping, which is typically why people have it removed, but it doesn't say that in the
No, it doesn't.
submittal.
And we don't have an applicant here to answer this question.
Mhm.
We have been approving the metal coping on some of the other buildings downtown. We have been approving that. It's a shame to lose terracotta, though.
It looks to me like they're I know we're past the window, but it looks to me in the rendering like they are keeping the original window. They're keeping the plaque that's in there. And if I recall, because this has come before us several years ago, and it's not that old a historic building
No, it's
as you
not.
think it is. But
Just looks bad.
I really think the scale-wise and everything, that the awnings over the doors
Mhm.
are better than the original.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think it keeps with some consistency of the building beside it also.
Yes,
Mhm.
it themes in well with
Yes.
the next door building.
Yes, it trims out, so.
And then replacing the doors. I know these are old wood doors. But the building right next door has new modern doors.
Yeah.
Do you know if the door openings were made bigger, Chris? In their rendering, it looks like there's brick, like they're making it larger and then bricking up around it at the top.
I see that. No, I do not know.
That may be a result of them taking off the old gable type awnings. Looks like there is bricks in there, gray bricks.
Is there it seems to me that the applicant needs, there's so many unanswered
Yeah.
questions, the applicant needs to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we
Unless,
have-
were they on a time schedule that?
I am sorry, the application came in and I have had very little conversations with the applicant, but that's a very good point. And it
Okay.
certainly is an option for you all to table if you have too many questions to approve.
I think we're sort of wasting
Yeah.
Yeah.
our time to.
Do I hear a motion to table this?
I'll make a
and
motion to
Have the
table.
applicant come back before us, and it won't affect their fees. Do I hear a motion for that?
I'd make a motion to table.
Thank you. Second?
Second,
Second from Terry.
yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
might run through a list of items that if the applicant asks, I can provide him with some
Yes.
knowledge or thought of your thought processes. So we want to know if the internal grid, if the grids are internal on the window or exterior,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How are you going to treat the mortar behind the removed gables? Because it's anticipated that this is a grapevine mortar,
Yes.
right? And why are you removing the terracotta?
Yes.
And do we need to add, are the doors larger?
Are we modifying the existing door
Opening.
openings?
Opening.
Okay.
And about the original, the window in the
In the
middle on the
front, yeah.
front window.
Because it's not clear from the proposal versus the rendering whether they're keeping that window or replacing it.
Original front window. Okay. Thank you. With your permission, Mr. Chair.
And were there details about the handrail at the back?
No.
No.
You
That's
got,
pretty straightforward.
no.
Yeah, the handrail's pretty straightforward.
Oh, I didn't see anything else about it.
Yeah.
It just says
Do you
add
want me to add
handrails.
handrails to the list?
I mean, we don't know what they are, do we?
Yep. Handrails.
It appears to be steel, painted black.
Where?
But again, we don't
I
know
don't know.
what
I don't
he's
know
actually
what that
putting in,
is.
it's just a picture.
Include that on your list.
I got it.
Thank you. You ready for 2338?
I am if y'all are. Okay. This is Henry Street. Again, the site is outlined in red here. For reference, you can see Lindley Park on the left-hand side and North Main on the right-hand side. The applicant is seeking approval for a vinyl-coated chain link fence in the backyard. The fence was designed as follows to comply with the design guideline and fit into the neighborhood. 1, the fence is black to blend into the background and recede from view. 2, the fence is sited behind the house to not be as visible from the street. And 3, existing and proposed landscaping hide the fence from the street. Staff recommends approval as submitted. So you can see here is the site, just a plan view. Here's the house and the proposed fence location around the house. You also see there are 2 outbuildings on the right-hand side of the house. Again, down here you can see a picture of the house with those outbuildings and the landscaping there. Again, another picture of the house, proposed landscaping on the right-hand side of the house. Chain link fence, specifications. These are existing houses and fences that were included in the neighborhood that were included in the packet. And that concludes staff's presentation. And I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, the applicant, to my knowledge, is not here for this one either.
Okay. If I refer to 5.8, appropriate materials, chain link fence does not meet the guidelines.
And this is the newest residential historic district in Anderson. It was formed in 2008, so those fences that they're seeing were there before it was designated. We didn't approve those fences.
Any other comments, questions? Do we hear a motion to approve, disapprove, or approve with modifications?
Motion denied.
Motion from Jill to deny. Second from Amanda to deny. Any comments or questions further? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried to deny.
Okay. We're back to our plan here. This is for the junkyard. BAR 2339 Junkyard Gym. The site is located in red here. It's across the street in the parking lot from the Earl Street that we just looked at. Again, Main Street is on the left-hand side and McDuffie is on the right. Everybody know where we are? Okay. The applicant is requesting approval to duplicate the Bull logo to identify the space used and balance the building facade. To clarify, the Bull logo is from the Junkyard Gym. The proposed sign will be aluminum and halo lit. So when we say halo lit, there's a solid piece out in front of it. The light is behind that, and it lights the wall behind the logo. So it provides a halo of light around it. Colors of the new sign will match the logo on the adjacent sign. So staff recommends approval with the condition that the application is revised and resubmitted for staff review to include a gooseneck light fixtures that match the other side. We'll look at that here. So this is the building, front on from the building. You can see on the other side, there are two gooseneck light fixtures over actually a square sign. And to balance that or give it more balance, because the building is not symmetrical, staff's suggestion is that this include, whatever goes on over here, include two gooseneck light fixtures. This is the proposed, an illustration of what the proposed would look like. Again, you can see the Bull logo over this window facade. There it is at night, halo lit. And that concludes staff's presentation. The applicant is here if you have any questions or if you have any questions of staff.
Okay, this, the size of the sign meets the city guidelines, correct?
The sign is compliant with the sign regulations.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And backlit sign, haloed sign lighting, looks good. Looks good. As far as adding the light fixtures to match the other side, any comments on recommendations for that?
My one concern with it overall is, does it achieve its intended purpose? Because the building is already a little bit wonky, so you have that longer awning there. It's not a symmetrical, so is it actually going to balance out the building as intended?
Well, it would take a large sign to balance out that side of it.
Right.
Yes.
But will it end up detracting rather than leaving that blank?
It's a thought.
So Chris,
I'm
with
not sure
the,
that adding the lighting is gonna help that
Yeah.
Might not.
side. It actually clashes with
It
the
might
Bull.
clash with the sign,
It looks a little.
detract from the halo effect.
Yeah.
would the goosenecks be symmetrical with the center of the building, or would they be centered over the awning?
Staff's suggestion would be they would be centered over the awning.
Okay.
It's almost like you would need three.
Almost.
So the
If there
other
are
side of the
gooseneck,
bull?
if there are gooseneck light fixtures, then certainly the staff would suggest that the backlighting or the halo lighting be reconsidered.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put the other lights lighting up the awning in the front of the sign, the halo lighting might not even be noticed.
Disappear.
Chris, am I allowed to say anything?
Yes, sir, you are.
If you,
The app-
gentlemen, or if the board will notice the circles on both ends of the building,
Yeah.
those are in halo lighting.
Oh, okay.
And the whole purpose here is to balance the lighting in the evening. You'll see very little of this in the daytime.
Right.
There won't be much difference at all. But at nighttime, it looks very unbalanced. And I might add, I'm the landlord, I'm paying for this just to make it look better. So if you all have suggestions that you think would make the building look better with the signage, let's go for it. I'm all about making downtown look better. And since I live there, I see it a lot.
We appreciate that, we do. We really appreciate it. Any other comments or suggestions?
And let me comment that the
Ron-
goosenecks might detract from the look at night.
I think
And-
so.
Ron, could you come down, if you don't mind?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I don't think
Get
I'm
me out of that uncomfortable chair. Yeah, I'm concerned the goosenecks, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm concerned that might not look that nice. And it would certainly detract from the nighttime look, I believe. Or if you put up goosenecks and you don't light them up, that might help. But I still think it might detract from the whole halo look that we started with those discs on the ends of the building. So, once again, open to suggestions. Y'all have more creativity than I do, all combined, I'm sure.
Any other comments or suggestions, questions?
What, the Canella sign, is that backlit?
No, that is, the goosenecks are
Oh, the
lighting
lighting.
up Canella's sign, yeah.
Is the bull the same size as the one that's over the junkyard sign now?
Sorry again?
Is the bull the same size as the bull that's over there now?
Yes.
It is.
It would be a duplication of the bowl without the cabinet.
What would look great, and I know you're probably not going to do this, but put a larger backlit bowl in the middle right there,
That's what I thought.
where the current bowl and junkyard sign is, and then put a rectangular junkyard sign on the right with the goosenecks above it.
Ben Boulware owns that.
You tell Ben that.
Yeah, right. He got the nickname Junkyard for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I was good with the sign until we started talking about goosenecks and symmetry. It kind of threw me off.
Any other-
I mean, for me, the halo is fine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
achieving
halo.
symmetry and actually helping it, I think that's where it becomes
Right.
What you're suggesting. Again, I know that means taking down the center sign, but in looking at that rendering and looking at it where it is on the right, it actually, it's going to be kind of under, Canella's is tucked in under that curve on the top of the building, but this would kind of be in between two curves where the curve comes down, and that's somewhat unavoidable based on the longer awning on the right, but it's just the building as a whole, it's hard to achieve symmetry when the building is not symmetrical and it's so long and your center is kind of shifted to the left. And I wonder if even just some lighting on the right side, like putting some goosenecks might, and I don't know, that's just, again, I'm spitballing, but that might achieve more of, hey, this is continuous than putting a second bowl.
Is the junkyard that whole end of the building? Is the junkyard the whole end of the building?
Yes, it was built to have 3 spaces and they took 2 of the 3.
Ron, take the goosenecks off the one on the left and have it backlit, halo lit, and then the bull would match it on the right.
Well, possibility, yeah.
If the junkyard sign was moved over the awning, as I think one of y'all suggested, and you added more goosenecks there, that would actually expose the original architecture where the brick is, where they painted in a sign, I'm sure. And it seems like it would make the backlit bull, you would focus on that. It would really draw your attention to it.
Yeah, if you took the existing bull sign, moved it over the awning, and took the new bull sign, backlit above the junkyard sign there, that would create a focal point in the middle of the building
Right.
at night. What's your thoughts on that?
That we might be able to get Ben to go along with. Yeah, I like that suggestion. I think it would look better. So you're having 3 cabinet signs and then the halo in the middle. right?
Right.
That would
Yes.
look- it
Yes.
would- Yeah, it would look more balanced that way.
Yeah.
Now, the bowl is pretty high though, and you get over there to the right side, is that gonna make it?
Don't have a scale with me.
Maybe we had to move the junkyard sign to the right.
Right,
Right.
yeah. Junkyard to the right and put the new bowl in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you was just suggesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
Put the new backlit bowl in the middle and move the rectangular junkyard sign to the right.
Yeah.
Over the large awning. Yep.
And do
Well,
away with the,
then you'd be left with two bowls in the middle?
No, you get rid of that one,
Yeah,
or
you have
just put it
one.
inside somewhere,
Or you get, well.
or give it to Ben.
Oh, you want to get rid of the
Get rid
cabinet
of
bowl?
the square bowl. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Move the junkyard, rectangular junkyard sign to the right,
Yeah.
maybe put goosenecks over it, and then the backlit bowl, probably bigger than what you have shown.
What
in the
if
middle.
what if we left the cabinet bowl where it was and just moved the junkyard cabinet over to the right?
I think that's
Yeah.
what we're saying, isn't it?
Well, I
No,
was
they
saying
were
the
talking about
backlit.
removing.
I think that one.
I like the backlit idea, actually.
Yes.
And
Especially
forget
since
about
it
a
is
halo
so
backlight then. What do you- I don't know if you'd like that or not. I don't know. Gosh.
would the existing backlit bull sign fit above the awning? Or is it too tall?
I don't know if it looked right over there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it definitely is the
Yeah.
major focal point, and almost moving the junkyard sign over the awning, it makes you just zero in on the bull, and I think you know that you could have, I mean, on the doors, you can have junkyard, so you know that's the entrance. And it would, it's almost like you wonder what is over the awning, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
It looks
Yes.
like the
Separate business.
junkyard
Yes.
is a small little space.
Yeah.
And by moving the sign over, it makes it look like this is mainly the junkyard.
And if you move that junkyard sign over, the bull sign could come down a little bit to be more centered above that central doorway.
Right.
Put it over the brick.
Right. Where
Yes,
it is
yes,
set, yeah.
yes, over that
Where
brick.
it says the junkyard currently.
Yeah. That wouldn't,
So you're,
I'm sorry.
no, so I understand you correctly. You would like the junkyard cabinet moved over the large awning and bring the bowl cabinet sign down.
Yeah. Yes, that seem feasible to you?
Well, I don't know if Ben will go along with it. See, he was pretty adamant about having the junkyard written out over the entrance door. But he might not care anymore now that he's been in business there for 4 years. Everybody, all of his clientele pretty much knows where the entrance door is.
Okay.
I'll just have to ask him and go back through this again.
Okay.
Unless you give me a conditional approval. I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
Yes, we are.
but would the sign ordinance space and all of that allow for him to put junkyard on the doors entering in?
Oh, he already has that on.
Yeah.
Oh, he already does?
Yeah, it says-
Okay,
And you can see even like there, it says we are
okay.
unique. So he has a bunch of screen printing on the.
So
All right, so
you'd
that-
be open
that's
to
what,
So.
a conditional approval if, with moving the junkyard sign above the awning and moving the bull sign down to center on those protruding bricks. You'd be open to conditional approval of that? If your client,
And not do anything about anything additional then? No additional halo bowl or anything, right?
no.
Okay.
Is the existing sign now backlit, this one backlit?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bull sign now is backlit, it's internally lit, isn't it? The bull sign up there, isn't that internally lit?
That's a cabin sign lit.
Yes, it's lit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that glows at night.
So if if he wanted a halo-lit bull instead of the cabinet bull, we could approve that also.
In the
Yes.
middle.
There you go.
And I thought that's where we were headed, that's why I was asking,
Yeah.
is this one already? I thought you just wanted the bull without the cabinet to be halo, you got the halo disc on either
Yeah.
side, and you shift the junkyard,
Junkyard over.
and you got the two rectangular signs, create a little bit more balance.
Yeah.
And,
I
and he
think.
gets a bigger bull.
And you got more bull now.
The halo look at night is, to me, critical to making the whole building look balanced. And if the halo bowl's in the middle, it's
Yeah.
gonna look better anyway.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And a little bigger
Yes.
if he,
Yeah.
if you all
See,
decide.
creativity, y'all.
Okay, so,
Conditional approval, you go through that.
so what we're looking at
Or can go along with it.
is,
So, Mr.
conditional
Chairman,
approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, could staff would request that like an image be resubmitted just so that we have it documented and put in our system of the changes.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're looking at moving the junkyard sign over the awning, removing the internally lit bull, and replacing it centered with a backlit halo bull.
Yes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
No goosenecks? No.
I just ask that we have this all submitted in drawing so that we know what we're
Right.
doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to approve as I suggested there,
Well,
listed?
all right, are we including the goosenecks?
Mhm.
No.
No goosenecks. Do we want to add
Oh,
goosenecks?
I said, I would,
You make a motion to approve as suggested, moving the sign and doing the halo lit bull sign in the center.
yes.
And with
Do
the
we have a-
drawing submitted to staff?
Yes, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Greg. Okay, any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And Chris, if, when you get the drawings,
Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
if you will email those to me, if they are suggested, you and I can clear that one up, take care of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate you.
Thank you. No, it wasn't easy.
Okay, moving on to BAR 2340. Again, we're back at this map. So the one we're looking at now is the Empire Games Building. It's on the far right, this rectangle right here. Again, McDuffie Street runs in front of it, and off to the far right of this cluster is Main Street. This is the proposed changes to the building. So the applicant is requesting approval of proposed changes to the Empire Games Building located at 118 North McDuffie Street to improve curb appeal. Materials and finishes are as follows. The awning, replace the existing rusted awning with new dark bronze metal panels and gutter and downspouts on the front of the building. Entry, the front windows and double doors are to be replaced with new dark bronze storefront and double pane low E glass. The paint colors, the front fascia, metal and brick, will be painted a medium gray. It's Sherwin-Williams 2850, Chelsea gray, and there's a fan deck. Ms. Noble will start circulating. It's highlighted there. It's in the very end. I believe the applicant also has color samples too. The exposed beams will be painted dark bronze to match the new roof and storefront. Site, resurface the parking lot and restripe and repair the fence along the side of the building and paint it a dark gray. In recent conversations, the applicant has noted that he would be painting the fence the same color as the building. The fence is off to the right. Staff recommends approval with the condition that the fence color be submitted or noted in the approval for staff review and approval. If he's using the same color and you all agree, or there's no need for staff approval if the color is noted. Here are the dark bronze storefront. And again, the applicant is here and he has a sample. And here is the proposed color for the building. That concludes staff's presentation. If there are any questions of staff, and again, the applicant is here to answer any too.
Can you go back to the picture of the building front?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Looks really nice. Got a lot of buildings downtown there that are becoming this lighter gray. Any comments or questions on the paint color?
Do
with the
we have a
black
picture
trim?
of the building as it is now?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I do not. When I flipped to it, I would have flipped to one, but no, we do not.
I was trying to look it up on Google Maps, so.
You said the brick will be painted as well. Is the brick painted now?
No, so currently,
No.
there's on Google Maps, there's two kind of brick areas on the sides that are unpainted. And there's like this tan kind of metal siding almost, it appears, on the top and along the sides of the building.
Can you put that on the screen?
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Mike. I'm the store manager and the one that put together the pretty proposal. The peak area is corrugated metal. It's just this is a metal building is basically what it is, with two brick fascias attached to each side. Do you have access over here?
Access to what?
Like Google or anything?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
That stinks. Let's see if I have it. Do you guys have the photo up there of the existing building?
Don't.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were passing that around.
I mean,
so.
I can pass my phone around.
I mean, if that's a thing.
Okay.
It's brick on the sides.
Yeah,
The brick will be
basically
painted.
all of it is that sheet metal except
Right,
for
it's
two
brick and just metal.
on the
Yes.
two sides.
And the brick's gonna be the same gray as a,
Right, the brick and the metal will be painted the same color to unify the fascia.
we have approved painting of brick. We do like it to stay original when possible. Sometimes it's not feasible. Comments on painting the brick?
I think it'll be a good improvement in this case, particularly since it's not,
Yeah.
it's just a front, it's not the whole building.
Mm. Yeah, these are colors. Okay.
Yeah.
The awning is going to be metal. Is that flat?
Correct. It's not flat, it's actually corrugated metal on the top of the awning. Currently, it is green and rusted, along with the beams that support it underneath are also green and rusted. So we're going to get those pressure washed and cleaned and then painted the same color as the sample being passed around.
So it's an existing cantilevered beam
Yes, sir.
structure, and you're just replacing the awning
Correct.
with a new?
We're just resurfacing the roof portion.
Okay.
So it'll be the same framework and everything.
Yes, sir.
And the doors, dark bronze, aluminum,
Yes, sir.
double pane, low light.
Correct.
I have a question,
Yes.
because in this photograph, it looks like the doors are reflective glass. It's not,
It's not, I think that's just the way the light was hitting them that day.
okay.
There'll be a bronze colored glass, or it'll be clear?
The glass will be clear, sir.
Be clear.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yep. Any other comments or questions? Do I hear a proposal? Proposal from Amanda to approve. Second from Mary Lou. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor?
I was gonna ask, is this for all of that and the fence?
Didn't cover the fence, thank you.
That's,
The fence, now what are you doing to the fence?
We're
Repairing,
basically repairing a couple of
Painting.
the planks that have pulled away from the existing structure and repainting it just to clean it up and match the building.
You can paint the same color as the building?
Yes, sir.
What I put in the furniture store, that's what.
All right. Okay.
It'd be very
Include-
attractive.
Yep, okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Got a staff report?
There was some discussion at the last meeting about the Heritage Tree District, and with the revisions to the landscape ordinance in the code, the Living Heritage Tree District no longer exists. So, Ms. Noble, I think it was you made a comment about you wanted to be able to look more at the landscaping no, it wasn't you? At the last meeting, somebody made the comment that maybe we ought to be looking at landscaping along the street. And I guess staff is suggesting that in the absence of this historic, the Living Historic Tree District, that there's an opportunity for you all to step in, and if there is a tree in the historic district that you want to see remain, then I think you have the authority to step in and say, yeah, we need to keep this tree, because trees are such an important part of the character of a community. And that's what you're all looking at.
Yeah, and I think what I did say was that we didn't have the ordinance to do landscaping, but trees. There was something, which I guess you're referring to, which if you had to take a tree down, that you were supposed to replace it within so many years.
I think we're talking kind of past each other. I'm saying that I think you all have the authority to look at landscaping and preservation of trees in the historic district.
More than trees.
Pardon?
Landscape. More than trees.
Yes, ma'am, more than trees. And just to be clear, since this Living Heritage Tree District is now gone, then there's really, because they're on single-family lots, if it is in fact a residential neighborhood, then there is no protection for trees now. Okay?
So, do we have to file something to?
No.
We're just saying we
I'm just
already
saying
have
that in the
it.
future, when you're looking at things, you can consider, and I would suggest that you can consider trees and saying, we need this tree to stay because it's such a big part of, again, the
It is.
streetscape.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
but would someone have to come and get approval before taking down a tree?
Yes, because they would be altering, they'd have to get the approval from you all, because they'd be altering the outside,
Okay.
okay?
What if the tree is diseased?
If the tree is diseased, then, typically there's a hazard involved, and so that would be an emergency removal, and, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and let that tree go.
It wouldn't have to come before us.
No, I'm sorry, who's asked?
Go
No,
ahead.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah, we had spoken about notifying the residents and the property owners of the fact that your property is in the historic district. Could that tree, people aren't gonna know that, because we've had several large trees in our neighborhood taken down that were not diseased, but, some people, either they claim that they didn't know, or they don't know that they need to come before the BAR, especially people who've bought property in the last couple of years. They really, truly may not know.
Sure, I can
So,
look in,
we
I
had
can look
talked
in.
about sending out some kind of notification.
We did, and you saw the pamphlet and approved it. Honestly, I don't know if that's gone out. I guess it hasn't, if you
I
haven't
got one.
received anything. I'll check on the pamphlet too.
Okay.
But the tree thing, nobody knows about.
Nobody knows about
Nobody knows
that.
about trees,
and-
right? If we see them getting ready to cut one down, and it's not a diseased tree, who do we call?
You can call me.
Okay,
But if the tree guy's already there,
Yeah.
well, we have stopped them before on Webb Street.
It seems to me that the tree individuals that are actually doing it should be the ones that should be more aware of where they are allowed to not cut down trees without approval.
They should be the first one to receive a pamphlet.
Right.
All the people who
Yeah.
do tree work.
Yes.
But I do want to add, having had one of the largest oak trees in Lindley Park fall on my house and almost killed us. We were out for 9 months. My son at the other end had trees taken down that would have hit his children in their bedrooms. So when these do come before us, I mean, I think everybody loves trees, and they're taking them down for a danger, a safety issue. But then also, we have seen where trees along the front, the main street, the fronts of the houses, that probably wouldn't be in danger, any lives or anything, are just taken down because they don't like the leaves falling.
So the arborist can identify and certify a hazardous tree. And when the arborist does that, then, there's less of an issue. But you're right, it would be the trees mostly in the front, again, that affect the character of the neighborhood that we'd be dealing with.
And if they take one down, or we approve them taking one down because it is a hazard, maybe we could suggest that they plant another tree in place of that. And it'd be many, many years before they get large enough to be a hazard to the house.
And we would sort of have to take it case
Yes.
by case on that, and we don't
Yes.
have written guidelines for that.
Yeah, there's no written guideline. Yes.
So that gives us a little more interpretive.
Yes, I have one that's 100 and some years old in my front yard, close to my house. I know.
But that's it.
Anything
Yes,
else?
sir. No, sir.
Any more business from the board?
I have a question.
Yes.
The historic guidelines. I heard someone mention some.
I'm sorry, can
one
you speak
neighborhood
into
was
your-
just
thank you.
declared, I guess, a historic district in 2008.
2008 in North Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all we try to do has so many gray areas in it. The chain links, I'm with you on the chain links. There are several in my neighborhood, and some are around some of the older Victorian, Queen Anne style homes. So is there anything that, if these fences, and I don't know that they ever will, but let's say a tree fall on one of these fences, can that owner put that fence right back up, that same chain link? There needs to be, because I can see both sides of this. I can say if you're surrounded by other neighbors with chain link fence and their dogs, and you're told no. So I see both sides, but I don't see how, moving forward, it can be a little bit more of a balance, other than just telling the newer people you can't do something that everyone else has done. Like I said, if they become damaged or something, there should be a way to not let that go back to being the same fence.
I think we have approved repair.
Well,
Fence
repair
that was
doesn't have
damaged.
to come back. If you're fixing like for like, it doesn't have to come back to you.
Yes.
And as Bill knows, there are some things like people have asphalt shingle roofs, and they don't know exactly what shingle it is, but they're putting back asphalt shingle roofs, and they're matching it as close as they can.
Yeah.
Then what the staff does is reach out to your chair, and he makes the call. In an instance like this, it would be very similar. This is a maintenance issue. You can put back the fence that you had.
Okay.
Yes, I'll give you an example. I had something damage my porch roof, and I had to do a quick repair on that thing.
Right.
It could not come before the board. It went exactly back as it was, but it didn't come before the board.
I got you.
Yeah. Any further comments, questions, more business? One thing I would like to say, it really helps if you speak into your mic very clearly so the people in the audience can hear us. That really helps a lot. And when we make a motion, be very clear on our motion. You know, if we're making changes or stipulations to that motion, make sure we state that very clearly so Shalander can get it down correctly. Okay?
Very good.
All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion from Mary Lou, second from Jill. All those in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned.